An unmistakable keyboard riff, a music video that revolutionized the industry, and a mega hit you've definitely heard before. But did you know that a terrible choice almost ruined the success of this classic, and that the story of the music video continues in another song? Today, we're going to reveal these and other amazing details behind the hit Take On Me by the band a-ha here on the Decifra Hits channel. No one can deny that Take On Me was a game changer, forever influencing the history of music and especially music videos. But what few people know is that the journey to success for this song was not easy at all, and that it began even before a-ha existed. It all started when friends Paul Wachter and Magniffer Homan were still teenagers in Norway. At that time they had a band called Bridges and had a sound very different from what we know from a-ha. The young men played 60s psychedelic rock inspired by their idols like Jimi Hendrix and The Doors. They even managed to officially release an album, but they didn't sell many copies. But what they didn't know was that among the many demos they had recorded and never released, there was one that would change their lives forever. This was one of the first versions of Take On Me that they recorded with the band Bridges. While Magniffer was already somewhat attached to this song, Paul didn't like it very much. He said it was too pop, so they tried to bring in a more punk beat to make up for it. But regardless of that, the fact is that the friends didn't give up on their dream. And right after the sales failure of the group Bridges, they decided to try their luck in London to get closer to the music industry, which would supposedly make the process easier. Back to the video. After trying their luck in London, Paul and Magni faced 6 months of disappointments and ended up returning to Norway. And when everything seemed lost, they found someone who would give the boys a new boost of motivation, their old schoolmate, Morten Harket, who heard them playing that primitive version of Take On Me. And he was enchanted by the amazing keyboard riff.
And instantly I know that this is it, this is the key to the world.
From there, the a-ha trio is officially formed, and in January of '83 they board a plane to London certain that they would find an opportunity. Once they arrived, they got an apartment and started working tirelessly, because all three of them were fully aware that they would need to work really hard on that song for it to truly become a hit. And between a few trips back and forth to Norway to get some money, they kept perfecting the song more and more. At the same time, they were looking for a chance to show their work to the world. Until in '84, something happened that finally seemed to make the young men's dream come true. They met the manager Terry Slater, who believed in those boys and called Andrew Wickham, the vice president of Warner Records in London at the time, saying that he needed to see the talent of that Norwegian band. So, Andrew got in the car and went to meet the group to see if it was true. The band did an audition where they played 3 songs, and after playing the third one, which was Take On Me, there was no doubt left, and Andrew wanted to sign with a-ha right away. Now they had a contract with a major record label, and everything seemed to be going right. But what was supposed to help almost ended the band's career and dreams forever. After they signed with the record label, they asked the boys to go to the studio and record their best song to be released. So they recorded another version of Take On Me under the production of Tony Mansfield, who discarded some parts of the demo already recorded by the band and redid them on a single audio synthesizer. The single was released in October of that same year, accompanied by a music video that wasn't all that great.
I mean, it doesn't help much to release a subpar recording with the worst possible music video.
The record label's low investment in both the production of the song and the music video was one of the factors that contributed to the release being a real failure 2 more times in a row.
We were kind of desperate because we knew we had lost our shot at making Take On Me a hit.
Even though they believed they could go much further, at that time they didn't have the power to go to the record label and simply demand more money. They were newly signed, they were doing what they were told and giving their best. But with a lot of persistence, they managed to convince Warner to at least change the producer, because they knew that would make all the difference. Andrew then went to ask the manager if he had anyone to suggest, and Slater introduced them to someone who would become responsible for making Take On Me one of the biggest hits of the 80s, the producer Alan Tarney. Alan basically stated that the secret to Take On Me's success was staying as true as possible to that demo version the band had presented to the label, which was exactly the song that had enchanted everyone and convinced them to sign the contract with HA. During production, Paul said that the producer would take parts from the band's demo and make them sound so much better. For example, the iconic keyboard riff. Alan used audio tracks from 20 electronic synthesizers, unlike the previous producer who had only used one. And on April 5, 1985, as a result of a lot of effort, the version of Take On Me that we know and that conquered the world was released. It was part of the band's successful debut album called Hunting High and Low, which is also the name of another big hit by a-ha. The song's lyrics, however, were written in multiple stages. Most of the verses had already been written about 5 years before the release, except for the chorus, which was written just a year earlier. In the beginning, they called the song the Juicy Fruit Song because it reminded them of TV commercials like those for Coca-Cola, which show people smiling and looking like the happiest people in the world. And they thought, that's not us. We're troubled souls from Norway. We can't do that. So, the song went through several other titles before arriving at the mysterious name Take On Me, which raises some questions about what it might mean, but when we look at the lyrics, it becomes much easier to understand. In an interview with the BBC, the lead singer explained that the song is basically about the disconnect between people. He said that when you meet someone, you don't know what they're thinking, you just have to trust that they mean what they're saying. And it's in this sense that the short story of the song begins, with the protagonist having a conversation with someone. We're just making small talk. I don't know what to say, but I'll say it anyway. Today is another day to find you. You keep dodging, but I'll come back to get your love, okay? The most curious thing is that take on me is not a grammatically correct expression. The closest thing to that in English is the expression take on, which means to assume or accept something, but the problem is the me at the end, since it's not normal to use this expression in the sense of committing to a romantic relationship with someone else. But here, besides fitting as poetic license, it's most likely that they took this phrase from Norwegian, which means touch me, and translated it literally into English, which becomes exactly take on me. In the second line of the chorus, they do something similar, but this time they reverse the order of the words to take me on. This also brings a new meaning to the phrase. While take on me comes from talk me, the variation take me on, literally translated from Norwegian, can mean put me on in English. Something like wear me, as you would clothing. But grammar aside, from the context of the song, it's pretty clear that the intention here was to convey that the protagonist is begging for the person to accept the challenge and give him a chance. This meaning is reinforced by the music video, where the characters seem to be trying to reach each other. Besides that, the inversion take me on also rhymes perfectly with the following verse. I'm leaving in a day or two, I don't even have to say it, I'm not worth much, but I'll keep going even if I stumble. I'm slowly learning that life is good, repeat after me, it's better to take risks than to regret it. Another striking element of Take On Me, which contributed a lot to the song becoming a hit, was its music video and the surprising visual innovation it brought. The creative director at Warner in London at the time saw that failed Take On Me music video and immediately understood why it hadn't worked. So, he introduced the band to someone who would change everything, the director Steve Barron. He was one of the most respected directors of that time. He had already worked with Madonna, with the band Toto, and directed Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, which, by the way, we already have a video about here on the channel. That was practically a gift for the band. And one of the most surprising things for that time was making an innovative music video using a technique called rotoscoping, in which the scenes are filmed and then turned into drawings. So, the director Steve filmed the scenes in the studio, and that's when the impressive work of two professional illustrators came in, Candace and Michael, who took 4 months to finish more than 10,000 sketches that brought the story in the music video to life. The idea was to create a story where there was a connection between the real world and the world of comics, and for that they hired the actress Bunt Bailey. In the comic, she plays a woman who is in a coffee shop reading a comic book about a racer on the run who is played by the lead singer himself. Until at a certain moment he reaches out his hand, inviting the woman to join him in the fiction. She accepts, and the two of them start living a story of romance and action, both inside and outside the comic book. And the end of the music video, when the characters meet in real life, serves as a continuation for the music video of another song, The Sun Always Shines on TV, which shows Morton saying goodbye to the woman and returning to the comic book again. In 1986, the music video for Take On Me won 6 awards at the MTV Video Music Awards, including Best Music Video of the Year. And in 2020, the production became part of the select group of the first 5 music videos from the 20th century to surpass 1 billion views on YouTube, which proves the timeless nature of this work. It manages to transcend time and win over different generations. And if you've stayed here until now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, take this moment to appreciate the story of this other masterpiece, where Freddie Mercury poured his soul and turned the song Bohemian Rhapsody into a true spectacle. To learn more, just click on this video. I'll stop here and thank you so much for staying with us.